Guys, and welcome back to the Movie-Club Emporium. And so, the original plan for this week's episode was to see either Twisters or Deadpool and Wolverine. And unfortunately, we had some stuff come up. I wasn't able to make it to the theater, but I was like, okay, let's see what we've missed this year. Maybe we can find something to see how something goes. So, scrolling through, and I come across a movie that I did not want to see in the theaters, had no intentions of seeing, because it looked kind of terrible. And I thought, you know what? My first thought was, you and Nick every year do your best and worst of list, and sometimes you need to watch some bad stuff. But then I was thinking, I was like, that's super negative. We don't want to be negative, but we don't have to be. Besides, um, a movie like this came out a couple years ago that I loved how goofy it was. I own it. It's a party movie. Maybe this is in that vein, in which case you're gonna have a blast. So let's watch it. So the movie in question is the new Sony horror film Tarot. Guys and gals, listen to me. This was so much worse than I thought it was going to be. And that's coming from a guy who, again, Wish Upon, funniest movie of that year. Loved it. Thought we were going to get kicked out of a theater for having such a good time. Even the fact that one of the last movies I saw in the movie theater before COVID was Fantasy Island, which you could argue is worse than this, but I say you're wrong. Um, this 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 was awful. Um, so let's get into this movie. I'm going to spoil as what I can. I just got done watching it, and I honestly can't remember a lot because the movie sucks. And if you've seen Fantasy Island, if you've seen Wish Upon, if you've seen Truth or Dare, if you've seen one of the, how many are we at now? 6 Final Destination movies, you've seen Tarot. Um, this it's so funny because so much more negatively people have talked about the PG-13 uh Drek and horror that Blumhouse pushes out. They've and they've had some this year with something like Night Swim or Imaginary. I will defend Mithrigan. I enjoyed Megan. Uh, but nobody does this better than Sony. Honestly, they're the kings. Um, movies like The Bye Bye Man. Man, like you have seen this movie. If you know the old saying of like 100 monkeys, give them all typewriters, and within 100 years they would write Hamlet or Shakespeare to be less specific. Um, this is what happens when you only allow that primate to watch terrible films from the early 2000s that I remember seeing in the theater, because this is every possible trope from all of those movies. Um, just one scene after the other. I will say this. This is the one good thing I will say about it in this entire review. um, well, are the creatures from the tarot card? Because what this movie is a way large group of drunken friends are like rented out this like terrifying mansion, um, like stately Wayne Manor, and they're out of beer, so they decide to rifle through people's stuff and find a box pentagram. And so, sure, that's the one we should open. They're in this house, and it looks like the basement from Cabin in the Woods. And I was like, oh, are we going to have fun with this movie? The answer is no. Um, they find a deck of tarot cards, and one of these people, these like 17-year-olds, I'm assuming they have to be old enough to drink, so let's say 22-year-olds. Um, they're all pushing 28. That's fine. Um, one of them happens to know how to read tarot cards because apparently she had older brothers who are my age. They all grew up in the 90s and remember Miss Cleo. Uh, and so she decides to read all their future fortunes plus herself with these tarot cards that look like you bought them out of the spirit of Halloween. They're the creepiest looking. Like, you would never touch these cards. They're horrifying looking. Each one looks like a creature from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And to me, that's where the movie does succeed. Is each of these characters are visited by the creature from their card, their tarot card, and they look cool. A, when you can see them, and B, when the camera stops shaking long enough for you to get a good look at them. Very, very 13 Ghost esque on some of them, but it's all in this dark, blue light. You can't see anything, and they're just like they're just moving. But they, in theory, they look cool. So we do all that, and then immediately our friends start dying. Uh, Final Destination style, 100%. One's even killed by the rung of a ladder, and I'm just like, hey, that was in the second one. Like, I've seen that death. Um, which one of these is gonna be eaten by escalator? Nobody talks about Final Destination 3D because it sucks, but not as much as this movie. And then you got the cast of this movie, which are all forgettable teens, except for Ned from Spider-Man, who's in this movie. A, to be annoying, and B, what you hope will be a righteous death because he is haunted by the Joker. No, not Joaquin Phoenix, but like the weird like twisty. He looks like uh the jester from uh I wish it was a jester from Puppet Master. It's just his face morphs into sad happy, sad happy. I have scary teeth because of it. Sad happy. Um, you're like, oh, he's just killed off screen. That's weird. No, he weirdly like shows up at the end of this movie, to be like, hey, me too, guys, because I'm the only face anybody will recognize. Uh, and this movie again, you are following every single step. From like I said, the Final Destination movies, Bye Bye Man, all the way back to movies like Stay Alive, which is a movie nobody talks about anymore. Um, Friends are dying. We got to figure out why. We do a little Googling. Find out there was one survivor And we go to her, and I snorted out loud in my own home. Like, I felt secondhand embarrassment in my own home when it's the older woman who was in Mandy, and she played Sally Hardesty in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. Spoilers, she lived longer in that and was more efficient than she is in this movie. Um, this poor woman, she can't catch a break. And then, like I said, it's just the same cookie cutter crap you've seen every January since 2002, and it's 2024, and it ain't getting any better. This movie, and what really sucks is, a movie that I did enjoy, uh, something like Lights Out, which was a young up and coming filmmaker makes a short film, very creepy, very efficient. That gets picked up, makes the movie version of it. You're off to the races. Fortunately, he gets stuck in the Shazam universe. This movie, it's written and directed by a couple, Spencer Cohen and Anna Halberg. They brought us the masterpiece that is The Expendables 4. But they wrote a short film called Blink, which is very creepy. And I was like, that you should do that as a movie. But no, we did uh, basically every Sony horror film again since the millennium. And it's just paint by numbers. You know what's coming through every step of the way. There's never any scares unless you're looking at your phone, wondering why you didn't just go to the movie theater, even though it wasn't feasible for you to do so, but you should have just gone. Or better yet, just ride your own tornado because it would be better than watching what? Oh, loud noise on the screen. Okay, um, this is gonna be on my worst of list. I don't know if it'll be the bottom number one, but I'm almost now. It's late at night. We just recorded our live over on Twitch where we had a much better time talking about Animals from Hell than we did about I did about this movie, but um, it's so cliched. I Here's how it works. I should be really mad about this movie, like really mad about it. Wasted my time. Um, shouldn't it's a waste. Should be mad. But I'm just sitting here going, but if you're mad at this movie, at least the way my brain works, if you're gonna sit here and dwell on how mad you are on this movie, well then you're gonna have to look at the last 20 years of bad PG-13 horror movies because they're all the exact same movie. So let's not do that. So what I'm gonna tell you is Tarot. I think it's out on digital. Don't look. Just type in PG-13 horror movies 2000 2024. Start scrolling with one hand, close your eyes, and slam your other uh pointer finger on your screen. And when you look down, watch that one. You've seen Tarot. So sorry. Uh Next week, however, I'm also dragging because so worn out. But I'm so ready. Next week, we are entering August. It's the dog days of summer. We're getting ready for school to start at the end of the month, which is what Nick and I will be talking about on our next live at our Twitch page, twitch.tv/the Movie-Club Emporium. We're talking schools out movies, action horror and sci-fi school related films. It's gonna be a blast. But before that, make sure you've got your passports and your boarding passes because the entire month of August we are celebrating our second annual uh summer block party. And what better way to celebrate the summer than with an Italian vacation? So all the entire month of August, each week here we are going to be talking about a different wild and crazy and super fun Italian horror film. Starting next week. So you do not want to miss a Sunday. We've got Lovecraftian church gods. We've got a 1990s untalked about Argento film. We're talking Evil Dead in a movie theater. We're talking the weirdest Lynchian movie about love and zombies you're ever gonna think about, and no, it's not the gross one. Um it's gonna be an absolute blast. So make sure you're here every Sunday, 4 p.m., where all these new videos come out. The best way to remember that, click that like button, click the bell, so you don't miss a video. And like I said, all the other YouTube stuff, I'd really appreciate it. We love you guys. We've been getting some pretty good traction lately. For us, we want to keep growing, so make sure you're sharing the videos, especially if you enjoy them. There's a playlist below of tons of reviews. Even our live streams. Like I said, we do them on Twitch once a month. They don't stay on Twitch, but we record them and then I put them over here on a playlist on our channel a couple of weeks after um they go up on our Patreon. But they'll be up here a couple weeks after that. Usually about time like this where it's 1:30 in the morning, and I realized, oh my god, I've got to put that on on the page. So make sure you stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss August. It's gonna be an absolute blast. Bring your sunglasses because it's pretty bright on the old Boot Peninsula. And until then, I will see you guys next time. And stay away from tarot cards. It's just, or pretty much anything. Just stay away from. Don't touch anything in a house you've rented. It's not for you. Like, don't even just sleep in your car. Bye.